For example, if my mornings after suhoor are more quiet and my brain is still awake, which mine is not.
But when you rewire your brain to view the end goal,
so work with Ramadan, not against it.
Imagine yourself the best version of yourself as a Muslim. What does that look like? Hello everyone, welcome back to Ramadan Radio. I'm Mercan, and we have our special guest today, Zeynep from Rochester. Welcome, Zeynep.
Thank you so much, Mercan. I'm so glad to be here in Ramadan Radio. And hello, everybody. I will be talking about setting goals for Ramadan and actually sticking to them during Ramadan and how to continue some of them post-Ramadan. So when I think about Ramadan, I begin with ambition. The night before the first day of fasting, right after the first Tarawih prayer, I come home, I take my prettiest notebook, and I start making like a long list. I say this Ramadan will be different. I set a bunch of goals. I say I'll finish the Quran. I'll read this many amount of books. I'll wake up for tahajjud and suhoor every night. I'll do this many amount of dhikr. I'll be more patient. I'll fix my sleep schedule, which is, I would say, a questionable goal during Ramadan. I say that I'll be very productive and I'll become the best version of myself. I hope that sounds a little familiar to some of you out there. It sounds like how we tell ourselves what we will do at the beginning of each year, like a New Year's resolution or beginning of each month, that we'll become the best version of ourselves. And then Day 3 arrives and I feel tired, my head feels heavy, I'm hungry, I have low energy, I get very irritable, and I start scrolling. Guilty. And then the goals that I wrote down on my prettiest ever notebook start to feel more unrealistic and more far away. So I would like to be very, very practical and be honest about how do we set goals during Ramadan and actually stick to them, and then how we will stay productive spiritually, mentally, and emotionally without burning out, inshallah. So let's start with this. There is this beautiful idea that Ramadan returns us to our factory settings, our natural spiritual state. It reminds us that Ramadan is not about becoming someone completely new, but it is about becoming who we were meant to be all along. But here's the important part. It doesn't automatically transform us, but it gives us the perfect environment for transformation, and we still have to show up. Allah tells us in the Quran that indeed Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves. It is in Surah Al-Ra'd, and this ayah reminds me that even in Ramadan, if nothing inside changes, our intentions, our habits, some of our daily choices, then nothing outside will permanently change either. And it's like the April rain showers. The rain does fall on everybody. But whether something grows depends on what we plant. Ramadan is that blessed rain, and our heart is the soil, and our habits and our goals and our schedule are the seeds. So if you want the real growth, we need intentional structure. And not just the Ramadan vibes. Just because we don't have shaitan during the month of Ramadan doesn't mean we will stick to our goals immediately. Don't start with the goals. Start with a vision and your intention. So one of the biggest mistakes that I personally make is jumping straight into goal setting. I say, I will read like a juz of Quran every day, I will pray more, I'll wake up earlier, I'll do this many amount of dhikr during tahajjud. But before actually setting my goal, I need my vision. So as the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, actions are only by intentions, and every person will have only what they intended. Instead of asking, what do I want to do this Ramadan? You can ask, who do I want to be by when Eid comes? So do I want to be like a calmer person under stress? Do I want to get closer to Allah in my daily life? Do I want to be more disciplined with my time? Or more grateful and maybe less reactive? Do I want to emotionally regulate myself when I'm hungry and tired? Who do I want to be by the first day of Eid? And when your goals come with, within yourself, come from an identity from who you want to be, they stick much longer. So if your vision is, I want to be someone who protects my focus, then your goal might be, I will definitely limit social media after iftar. And maybe if your vision is, and if your intention is, I want to be someone more consistent with my worship, then you can set the goal to be, I will read Quran this many pages daily, and then that will be very realistic for you. So I would say vision and intention first, and then goal second. I heard once someone say that Ramadan comes with its own program. We don't randomly decide to fast. We don't randomly wake up at like 5 a.m. for sahur. And I'm so glad that we wake up at 5 a.m. instead of 4. #winter. And then we don't randomly gather for Taraweeh every night. Ramadan puts that structure. It changes our schedule. It reorganizes our priorities. And it interrupts our autopilot living. So instead of fighting that structure, we should learn how to lean into it. And since Ramadan is already giving us a system, our job is to align our personal goals and intentions with that system. And I think it makes it much more easier. For example, if my mornings after sahur are more quiet and my brain is still awake, which mine is not, that might be like the deep focus window. And then during afternoon, when my energy might be a little low, when my energy dips, it can be my light task window. So in productivity terms, we can call this using our focus times energy times time wisely. There is this author, Muhammad Faris, and in his book, The Productive Muslim, he defines productivity exactly that way. Focus times energy times time. And Ramadan actually boosts your focus and rearranges your time. You just need to respect your energy. So work with Ramadan, not against it. If you're more focused after sahur time, then try to get your major assignments or your major tasks during that time. If you're like a night owl like me, maybe you can set your goals post Taraweeh and then do it that way. And then there's also like this motivation aspect of it. So let's be honest, most Ramadan failures are not like failures of our iman, but they're failures of our energy management. When we enter Ramadan with our old sleep patterns and then maybe zero planning, this is what happens. Like for example, me, I get sleepy, I get that brain fog, I get more irritable, and my thinking slows down. And then I blame myself spiritually. I say, do I not have that iman for Ramadan? Productivity is not just about time, but it is about how we manage our physical energy through sleep, nutrition, and movement and focus. So if my body is exhausted, my soul is trying to worship through a very tired vehicle. Allah says in the Quran, O you who believe, fasting has been prescribed for you as it was prescribed for those before you, so that you may become righteous and have taqwa. So this is from Surah Al-Baqarah. And taqwa includes self-awareness. It includes knowing when to push and when to rest. A balanced sahur, enough water between iftar and fajr, and short intentional nap, maybe a kailule, throughout the afternoon can be all part of your ibadah. I would say choose only 3 main goals for Ramadan. Not 10, not 15, 3. Because when I started the month, I jot down a bunch of notes. I said, I will read this many amount of Quran, I will do these dhikrs, I will listen so many lectures, I will do this, that. Okay. Choose 3 goals. Let's just start with 3. 1 spiritual goal, 1 about maybe character refinement, and 1 stability habit. Your spiritual goal is your main act of worship. It could be your daily Quran, it could be an extra prayer, it could be regular dhikr, and then your character refinement is who you want to become like around people. Maybe you can try to be more patient, maybe absolutely no gossip, and then your stability habit is the habit that keeps your life steady. It could be sleeping before midnight, reducing scrolling on TikTok, planning your day the night before. And then I know, why only 3? Because consistency matters more than intensity. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said that the most beloved deeds to Allah are the ones that are consistent, even if they're small. And Ramadan is absolutely the perfect time to practice that. And then, dear listener, I actually invite you to pick your 3 in your mind your 3 goal, 1 spiritual, 1 character, and then 1 stability habit. And you can jot them down in the comments, and we would love to have like a sharing space for our goals during this Ramadan. And if you share it with people, that means we will hold you accountable for it. So feel free to share your goals down in the comments. Let's talk a little bit about the hard truth, why we sometimes fall back after Ramadan. So you say you have like a vision. We talked about having a vision, having an intention, and setting goals during Ramadan. And then once Ramadan ends, we may not be in that same spiritual circle, and that's why maybe we just collapse afterwards. We feel this high for 30 days and then we crash. And why does that happen? Because we confuse temporary intensity with sustainable growth. That's what I said, maybe let's just start with 3 goals. Instead of saying like I will pray 20 rakas every day, maybe say, what is the smallest version of this practice of Taraweeh I can make after Eid? Maybe you can pray tahajjud a couple times a week, so you can have like a habit that you're trying to form during Ramadan, and then think about like a smaller version of that you can apply to rest of the year. So maybe instead of like a juz a day for post Ramadan, you can say I will read Quran maybe 5 pages a day. So I hope that inshallah we can keep the momentum that we have during Ramadan, and then we can continue it post Ramadan. One of the best ways that we can do this is with people. During Ramadan, we have iftars with people almost every night. It is so highly encouraged to break your fast with others. We have Taraweeh prayers with a bunch of people. We read Quran with others. So social productivity actually helps us so much to maintain our goals during Ramadan. But let's now make like a simple daily Ramadan routine. So morning, let's do our hardest task or maybe your deepest worship. So right after suhoor and fajr, when your willpower is fresh, your brain is clearer, and there's a special barakah in this time. And the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said that Allah has placed blessings in the early hours for this ummah. So use that time maybe for Quran with understanding it, serious studying, and then for afternoon, maybe leave your late responsibilities. So maybe this could be your low energy window, and then do what is necessary, but maybe a little later. So after class, maybe just take a little time to reply to emails, review some notes, do simple tasks. Maybe if you're at home, do some chores, fold laundry. And then during the evening, let's take this time to have connection, reflection, and community. Again, that social productivity aspect. So iftar with family, friends, praying Maghrib, Isha, and joining Taraweeh with people. And then night, make sure to protect your sleep. So be intentional about how late you stay up. If you want to wake up for sahur, you cannot sacrifice your sleep to endless scrolling. And every day, set aside just maybe a couple minutes for that reflection, that journaling, and ask yourself, did I move one small step in the right direction? As like a closing, I would say, Ramadan does not demand that we become extraordinary overnight. It gives us like a perfect place to become intentional. You don't need dramatic transformation. You need like a steady, small step towards who you want to be. Real growth is about being consistent, and inshallah, I wish for everybody that has an amazing Ramadan with good goals that they stick with, and within their 3 goals, everybody can hopefully do them consistently for this rest of the month.
Zeynep, thank you so much. I was taking mental notes of everything. It was all very beneficial. One thing I want to add, I like what you said about when you set a goal, thinking about the end goal. Like what's your greater purpose? Like when you're going to Taraweeh, are you doing it to check off a checkbox on your to-do list? Or are you doing it for a greater purpose? Just the other day, I saw a reel about how to cheat from laziness. And it was saying the laziness stems from looking at the work that you have to do and being unmotivated to do that. But when you rewire your brain to view the end goal, like, okay, I have to get up and make food, for sahur, for example. I don't know, let's make a Ramadan version of it. When I think about like the amazing food I'm going to eat and feeling full instead of the process of getting up and making something, when I wire my brain for that end goal, I'm already motivated by the endorphins I get from thinking about my reward, which literally cheats us our way out of laziness. And I think if you imagine yourself, the best version of yourself as a Muslim, what does that look like? Does it look like tearing up whenever you hear an ayat from the Quran? Does it feel like you have this incredible closeness with Allah that if you were to raise your hands, you know that He would hear it and that He would respond to you? What does the best version of you as a Muslim look like in your eyes? And imagine that end goal every time you have these tasks, like especially during Ramadan, like going to Taraweeh, praying for like an hour, perhaps 2 hours, or meeting every night with your friends on Zoom or online or in person to read Quran, a juz of Quran together, or maybe even smaller tasks or different tasks as well. Definitely think of that end goal, and I hope that will motivate you. It's easier said than done, guys, but honestly, in this age and time, us even making this effort to talk about these things, to even try to do these things, it's so great in the eyes of Allah. And this is said in so many hadith as well, how much value it is for us to read up and follow and continue the traditions and hadith of our Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam in this time period towards the Day of Judgment. It means so much. So Zeynep, thank you so much for all of your wonderful insight. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you and everyone is having a blessed Ramadan.
Thank you for having me. Ramadan Mubarak, everyone.
And as always, stay in touch, guys. Make sure to put your thoughts, comments, stories, questions, and see you guys next time.